Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to Channel Maddnes. We're doing a real talk and we're talking about stress. And how to deal with it. Yeah.
It's gonna happen every time.
Because we're all humans and we all deal with stress in our life. And I thought because I had a hard few weeks, I thought this would be a great thing to talk about stress. Mostly because I watched a documentary that was dealing with mental breakdown. It was called like The Breaking Point, and it was basically like there was a bunch of people who hit that point and it explained what they went through and how and what happened. And a lot of it was like work situations, that everyday work situations that you wouldn't realise. You know, there was like a farmer who basically snapped because he couldn't deal with it anymore, a banker, and just every day. There was a council worker who was working with people trying to help him out, and she couldn't handle the system anymore because the system wasn't helping the people that she was trying to help, and she just couldn't go back to work, and she actually tried to commit suicide. But yeah, so I thought, how do we all deal with stress? Because my life is stressful, but I managed to find a happy medium to make myself cope with it. And I thought, let's get together and all talk about stress, because there's a bunch of different types of stress. And yeah. Yay! So I thought we have a good sort of range. I mostly deal with, busy work-related stress. I'm sure Josh, let's go call you Todd for a second. Josh and Lag, you guys went to uni. Is that stressful?
Yes.
You see,
Yeah.
studying, I don't know. I found high school stressful. That's why I never went to uni, because it was never my.
Fair enough. I mean, uni's not for everybody, partly because of the stress. So.
Yeah, and big workloads. So.
Definitely something that helped me through uni was being able to say I'm stressed and also to have time with friends.
Time with friends.
Help.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like proofreadings and all that jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how do you guys stress? If you're in a stressful
the
situation,
different
how do you get
types.
there?
So
Yeah.
most of my stress is work-related stress. As a department manager trying to run staff with bosses always on my back and things like that. Sometimes I run into 12-hour days without shifts. Last week I did like I think 14 days straight without a day off, with no breaks anywhere.
Say what now?
What?
Say what now? That's a long time.
That's my life. It's been my life for 10 years. Well, obviously it's getting more and more, and there's a lot of stress in there. There's a stress trying to deal with my staff, stress trying to deal with the department, with my bosses, and everything, the which way and Sunday, and like it does get a lot. But the best way I deal with it. Wait, do we want to just talk about what we deal with stress and talk about how we deal with stress later?
You know what? They'll go with
I
the
mean,
flow.
go
with the
just
flow.
keep going.
Like, well, how would you guys deal with that then? If that was if my everyday was your everyday, how would you think you would deal with it?
Oh, I don't think I would have your everyday because I couldn't deal with it.
Yeah, I think removing yourself from a situation where you can't do it.
Right.
Yeah.
But you, like from what I observe, you try to take time off. You try to see your friends every week.
And you also like spread your time, like so you have time when you're like, I'm sorry, but I just need to not have people around me at the moment.
Like when you have to take over too much for people, you're like, well, okay, I'll take over, but then I'm gonna need more time off afterwards.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like, it doesn't help that as a baker I also start like unearthly hours in the morning, and that screws up your social life. Like, you barely have a social life. It got really bad in my past to the point where I was really depressed and having bad thoughts. So things had to change. And unfortunately, work couldn't change that much because you can't really just change work. Maybe for some people it's easier just to drop out of work and change their lifestyle. It wasn't easy for me. I couldn't just go no more work because obviously I had bills to pay and I had a life to run. So I had to find ways to work, and it took a lot of process. Like, I had to create a group of friends that I could rely on and make it a manageable, like an ongoing thing. And that's how we first ended up with our group, and it just went. It just went up from there.
Helping.
Warm fuzzies.
And that's what the group was about. But you are right. I manage my daily stress by understanding where my time is needed. Like, I work hard and do the long days when I need to, but on the other spectrum, when I don't need to work hard, I don't. Like, I take half days, or I leave early because I know I did a 12-hour shift yesterday to make sure that everything was running, and there's like, well, I don't have a reason to stay here other than just to fill out my hours. I don't see a point. Like, so I'll go. And yeah, I'll try and make time with my friends, you guys, because that's what helps. Like, I took Thursday off, it's just because after like working like 14 days, I just needed a day off, and basically I just like, I'm not coming in tomorrow, you guys will have to run without you, but I left it in such a state that it wasn't going to fall apart completely. And then I'm like, yep, I had a day off, slept most of it, and I played Red Dead Redemption 2, and then I'm like, yeah, then went back to work Thursday. And then, yeah.
Yeah, you have like an interesting thing where you've got, more stress for being higher up, but that also means that you can kind of make decisions that helps reduce the stress. Like, you can decide to take a day off as long as, you've got someone to cover you, and you can, you could basically say, look, I really need to take time off, and if someone then comes up and goes, can I take this day off instead, you can go, no, look, I am. Because I need
it
to
is,
or whatever.
it is nice being in a position of power. Like, it has its perks and as well as its downsides. Obviously, the downside being the extra workload, but the perks being I'm in control. I have the power to make decisions that obviously best for everyone in the long run, but also obviously best for me.
Yeah, and some people don't have that power.
It also helped back when I wasn't the boss that my manager acting at the time was a good manager. Like, she's probably like one of the few people I take outside of my work as an actual friend, because she was such a good person that you could get along with her, and she looked out for everyone as well. And yeah, that's really.
Yeah, I think work-wise it really helps if the people you're working with are like happy or nice at least,
Like, there are.
If you're just dealing with negative people all the time.
Like, back when I worked at Massey and I had that one staff who just made everyone's life a living hell, and every other department was making fun of it. Like, oh, she's just playing up again. Oh, so that's her. I'm like, yeah, but nobody's dealing with it. And because she's part of my department and she's ruining my department, that's my problem to deal with. That's what I think that was the lowest point in my career, and that's when I didn't want to leave the company, because the company wasn't doing anything about it. She was making the department's life hell along with everyone in the store, and it was just like, well, I'm either leaving or I'm moving out. And I did. I moved out. Henderson needed a new manager, so I took over, and that's how I became their manager, which is a much more happy job, because although there are a few negatives sometimes with the staff, there are very much positives. So I'm happy with that. Yeah. But that whole stress is just work-related stress. Like, there is obviously home stress and whatnot. But most of my grief of stress is work-related. I don't really get too uptight about stress. I kind of getting a little bit stressed about the channel now. But that's mostly when I don't I don't get any stuff out for a while. I'm sitting there like, shit, I gotta get up, I gotta get something on the channel, even if it's a pointless video, just because I wanted to. And so it's not getting stressed trying to edit it. It's when I don't have anything and like, shit, I need something.
We'll just keep you waterlogged with a whole bunch of stuff. We'll just keep giving you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, well, it's not if it's just sitting there. That's what's bothering me. Like, it's sitting there. I gotta do it.
Like stuff slowly.
Like the magic thing. No, I haven't touched that yet because I just haven't had the time. And I'm like, they're starting to get up there. So I'm like, I gotta do something. I was gonna do it today. I might do it tomorrow. Or I might do it Sunday. It's gonna be the next thing on the list to work at. Gotta go through that magic stuff and whatnot, because that's what I want to do. But yeah, that's my stress. How do you guys deal with
all the different types of stress? What are the different types of stress that you're talking about?
Well, so what do you
mean by types?
That's what he said.
Well, what I read was biggest causes of stress. The top 3 causes of stress is financials,
family,
work, and something else.
Relationships? No?
Maybe. I don't remember the third one, but it goes. It was then, I think it was work, then financial, then something else.
Right.
There's the top 3 causes of stress.
Right.
It could be family. It could be grief. Someone dying. Death.
Oh.
Okay. I'll give you a 4th. Wedding prep.
Yeah.
That is a stressful time. That is a stressful time, especially because you have an idea of what you want, and then your parents have an idea of what they want, and then your friends have an idea of what they want. No, not you guys. It's all good.
I got no expectations for your wedding whatsoever.
I wanna be just like, if your friends are getting in the way of your expectations, you basically just go, fuck you, you're uninvited. You're making this too hard for me.
Things like
friends last.
No, it's not even like them giving input. It's like who to choose to come.
That's fair.
Like, that is stressful, because I've always been
because
one
you've
of
got to
those,
like, honestly, okay, so I'm thinking about my sisters at the moment,
Yeah.
and we've got a relatively small family.
Yeah.
So there's like, okay, well, the other person's gonna have a lot of people to invite, and then your side's not gonna be that big. So you're like, well, you kind of just have to invite everyone you know at that point. But yeah, like you're like, who do I invite? Who do I not invite? And where do I seat them if they have problems with each other?
Oh god, I
Like-
haven't got there yet.
Yeah, so I'm
See-
thinking about my sisters, and I'm like, yeah, some people don't like each other in my family.
Most mature adults should be mature about the occasion, understanding that they're not there for themselves, they're there for
Yeah,
obviously
but a
the
lot
part.
of people aren't mature.
Yeah, I know.
And especially if you have something where people drink, and then you got to worry about that.
That's we're thinking about like the ideal where people are mature.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have to like understand that it's your wedding.
So
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
through,
No.
talk
absolutely.
through your wedding stress.
Like we were talking about stress.
Yeah. Remember, we'll stay on topic. Stress.
So, yeah.
Wedding stress. Go.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I think one of the biggest things that have been helpful for me during this time is having Todd there as somebody who we can just talk it out. We're going through the same things. We can make decisions together, and I find that really helpful. I also find it helpful to not just be around other people. Just like to kind of go and isolate.
So you
like-
want to be around people to some extent,
Yeah.
and then you don't want to be around them to some extent.
Is
Yeah.
it to the way that you like? I don't want to deal with anything weird stuff at the moment.
No. I don't. That's all good. We don't have to go into it. All I will say is that the way that I deal with stress in that case
So the way you deal with your wedding stress
is talking, is making decisions as a team and not putting it all on myself.
okay.
And I think that's big. And then when it comes to work, I know that there's going to be some days where I'm going to be more stressed and some days where I'm going to be very tired. And so I kind of try to space out my workload across my week to help out with that. And then if I need to talk, I talk with my bosses and they're real open, so that's really good. And then if I'm working like my 24-hour where I do a PM shift and then a sleepover and then an AM, I would like just be extra kind to myself and like try and go to bed like right on time as opposed to going over. Of course that didn't happen. Because a client decided not to turn up at site and turned up the next day, and so I had to write in some reports. And, but yeah. So they had a big smile on their face too, and I was like, "You're dead."
More stressful.
Yeah, but that's stressful. But also, I think in general, when you're starting a job and you're beginning to like learn what that job's like.
Well, starting a
That's
job
stressful.
is like one of the most stressful things. I remember when I first started working out, I was shitting myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really not good for the bread.
I wasn't shitting in the bread. Just shitting myself.
Just in your pants.
It's made it so flavourful. How long have you been?
Chocolate.
No. How long have you been in your job now?
About 9 months.
And how do you feel?
Oh my god,
I
have a book, baby. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, nice. I rebuke that, but that's all good.
Still as stressful, or from like when you first?
So different types of stress. So when I started, I'm still learning, and it takes like a year to learn my job. And I'm still definitely fresh, but I'm not as fresh as I was when I started. And different type of pressures now, writing clinical reviews and getting them in on time, and picking up a new client and things. I now have two on my caseload, and that's a lot. That's a lot because I have to do like goal setting with them and write clinical documentation and all that jazz. So yeah, and we're now at capacity.
So it all adds eventually to the stress. load.
Yeah. What really helps is the fact that I'm not alone on a shift. If I was alone on a shift, holy hell, that would be a time. I couldn't do that.
Would it ever be a possibility?
Well, there's some times where, like, because I'm an MHP, mental health professional, and I usually am on shift with a regular support worker, so they are just slightly down hierarchically, and so if one of the clients needs to go somewhere, then the RSW takes them. I stay behind and I look after the site because they're taking one client and then I'm looking after 5. So looking after, I'm like just checking in on them.
And so, what's your main therapy, like your thing to deal with that stress?
Music, like, if I need to like focus and I just tell my my co-worker, look, I'm just zoning out for like 20. I need to write something. Oh, but do you mean if they're off site?
I'm not telling you. How do you deal with your stress? It could be if
I listen to music. It's called like chill step, but I've also started listening to like chill
ASM?
hip hop. Ha ha ha! No, that's not music.
No, that's stressful as.
But I still want to do that. No, I look more at music, chucking it up loud, and just focusing on my work, and then we also write up our schedule for the day, and so our schedule is also helps with the stress because it spreads it out across the day, and we know what's going to happen. Yeah. Yeah.
your boyfriend, fiance, is asking for you.
Oh, he's asking for me.
Yes.
He's just making sure you're okay, partly, I think.
Oh, I just didn't have my phone on.
Yeah, he's like, if anyone knows where Lexi is, can you get her to answer her phone, or just let me know if she's with you guys.
Oh, gorgeous. I guess I should go and do that.
Yeah,
You guys can keep
he's on his way. He just wants to know where
he
you
just
were.
wanted to know you were.
That's it.
Aww.
We can turn to Josh now. Josh.
Yes. Well, I was going to say, because I know when you first started the job, when you're cooking makers, you used to have what you call them deep talks.
Yeah.
Just come and have a nice conversation about stuff.
Come chat
Yeah,
about
yeah.
deep stuff with us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it's good just to talk and spill your beans to someone, and if it's not someone you know, then you could be a complete stranger. I don't recommend.
Hopefully they'll be okay with
Just
this.
find someone on the street. And just
I mean, you could. Just maybe a psychiatrist, someone who's trained and knows what they're doing.
Plainclothes psychiatrist.
yeah.
I guess it was definitely more stressful then because I was coming in to start work, but I'm also coming in at a level where I wasn't a casual and I wasn't a regular support worker. So I was coming in as a mental health professional. Most of the other mental health professionals start as casuals, then become regular support workers, and then go up to being a mental health professional. I just came in at that third level, so I had a lot of learning. But I'm kind of proud of that actually,
so
to be able to start there.
Yeah, so you say the majority of the stress you deal with currently would obviously be the wedding and work?
Wedding and work, and sometimes just
General.
dynamics.
Just there is always general stress that just happens.
Yeah, and I have a anxiety condition and all that kind of jazz, so that's part of what I
Have any
do.
big past moments that you've accomplished?
Have I had big moments there?
I don't know, big, like I had a big thing in my past.
Oh, wait, smart.
That set me on the path that I am now, which we ended up
Yeah.
creating the group, which was basically my support group until I was confident enough that I didn't need it anymore.
Yeah.
And
Well,
now it's pretty much everyone else's support group.
well, if you think if we go into it, I won't give like names and details, but
Josh.
that man. No, I'm kidding. No. I'm coming out. My last year of uni was very much stressful because I had to take time off because the person I was on placement with who was my supervisor, just like through a whole bunch of things decided I had anxiety. She said I wasn't going to finish the placement, that I wasn't going to be able to get my OT degree pretty much.
Well,
I can
Yeah,
imagine,
hush.
So
I can
that was
imagine
a
that
big
could-
owl stressor.
Yeah, that can mean that could be like heart wrenching as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, that is the kind, like, I don't understand telling someone that if they're going to be, like, if they're not in a position where stopping is the best thing. Like, say you're already halfway through your course, right?
Yeah,
At that point, you've paid for it, you've done half the work, you may as well keep going.
yeah,
At that point, someone telling you that can be what stops you.
yeah,
And you don't even get to see whether or not you would have made it.
yeah.
You don't, like, I can kind of see where maybe warning you that, hey, don't get your hopes up can be a good thing. But telling someone that, hey, I don't think you're going to make it without, like, some positive thing. Or,
Yeah.
hey, I
Well,
don't
that
think you
was-
can make it now, but we can
Yeah.
do these things to help you.
Yeah.
That might help. Like, that can be career ending. That could be life ending. That could
Yeah.
be...
Yeah. So for me, I didn't even know that my placement was going to end. She just called a meeting, and there was supposed to be a meeting where we could sort out how I could figure out my placement and how to pass it. And during the meeting, she decided to just put on the table just not passing it. And so that's what happened. I stopped at the 7-week mark of a 10-week placement where I could have just, if I just got through that placement, I could have, yeah, but I'm actually very glad that I didn't. I think that being able to go back, have some time off, go and figure out what I really want, have some time to do some work, and then go back and do another 10-week placement with the most amazing supervisor in a place that I loved. Actually has really cemented, like, I'd like to say I'm a fighter. Like, I'm not going to give up, especially if I've put in all the hard yards.
I don't think I could take you.
Not me and Scooby-Doo!
So do you believe what you said was correct, but it was delivered the wrong way?
I believe there was a lot of different things going on,
No.
and I mean, can't really tell you details.
That's fine.
But all I will say is that my lecturers and my tutorial people's
Tutors.
thank you, they were very surprised that I wasn't going to be passing the placement, and they questioned it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you managed to bounce back.
Yeah.
But it's like not everybody can.
yeah,
So having that situation arise,
yeah.
even if it turned out better for you, it's like that shouldn't have happened.
No, absolutely.
What helped? Like, did you have a support mechanism?
My dad.
Oh.
My dad, he was at the meeting when
You punched
everything
him in the
happened.
face.
When I wish I could have. That would be
Your
nice.
dad, you wish you could punch your
No,
dad?
not my dad.
Critic.
The supervisor.
Yeah, yeah.
No, he was really helpful, and at some points I just literally
Yeah.
could not talk.
Sometimes you just need someone there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a emotional support.
Alright, Master
Yeah.
Joshua, how do you deal? What kind of stress do you deal with in your life?
Panic.
Panic?
Yeah. Oh, like last week, my wife.
Yes.
It was little things like that. My heart was just like, oh shit. Yeah, something like I didn't know what to do. Well, but you know, then solutions arose and it was fine. But meanwhile, after I failed the wolf, I just went home and played games, and usually that's my course of action to just dealing with
So you
crazy stuff is just
recommend-
occupying myself
Oh, yeah.
with like a hobby, like badminton or games or anything, just anything. I just really just
Yeah.
forget what's going on.
Still playing your guitar?
Haven't lately because I've been
I think you should.
yeah.
Play your guitar along with my ocarina.
And then Lexxo can sing.
Yeah, we get a musical note going on here.
And I'll do
going on
nothing
here.
because I would ruin it.
Like I understand like because not all stress is big like work related or things like that. Small things can create stress as well, and like and I understand the what.
And that doesn't mean that like
Yeah.
it's not valid or anything. It
'Cause
doesn't mean that someone stressing more than you
No.
needs to take like time off and you don't feel like you deserve it. Like if you're stressing, you're stressing.
Yeah,
Like,
because for something I failed because I needed to adjust my handbrake. I didn't know really how much that would cost or how long the process would take. Apparently, it was only like a 10-minute job. We only had to.
you go.
I mean, that ticks like all 3 of the top 3 things. You're like possibly grieving for the loss of your car.
It can affect work. It's financial. And whatever. Like just. But yeah, because like I understand. I think a lot of people would go through that. Is because the expectation with the WAF is you're going to pass, and then all of a sudden you don't pass, and it's like, shit. Why not? What's wrong? How do I have to fix it? How long is it going to take? How much is it going to cost? Or like your day goes from just like half an hour to like the average person will think they'll pass because they won't think anything's wrong with the car. Obviously, somebody who knows the car's bum is going to go in. They just won't take it in, and that's what most happens. And like that's what happened to me. I took my car and I thought, oh, it's going to be fine. Lo and behold, it took all day I had to replace a mechanical part in the brake, a tire, and get some filters changed. And in the day, it cost me $2,000.
At that point as well, you begin to realise just how much you need your car.
Yeah, you do. And like my day started from being, because I had plans. I was like, oh, it's gonna be easy, and then I basically looked really shitty the whole day because it was just like, I got to pay for this $2,000 with money I don't have. How am I gonna get this money? Luckily, my partner paid for it then, so I could pay her back. But yeah, that kind of thing out of the blue it's like you go from 100 to like 0. Yeah, just 2.
You keep those last 2 just in case anything else wants to kick you while you're down.
And like you were saying, stress it's not like it's cumulative, and like they're saying the straw that breaks the camel's back. They always like when I was watching that thing, there were people that had the breakdowns, and they're like, they're always trying to pinpoint it to that one thing. It's like stress isn't one thing. No. That was the thing that may have set it off, like the straw that literally broke them. But you can't deal with that. You've got to deal with the whole payload of stress. Yeah. And whatnot. And any other
Work stress, really.
Work stress? Yeah. Well, we work in the same store. What's your stress? And we're similar. We're both fresh food departments, but you obviously.
Mine's less intense because I'm not a manager.
No, but
we're a morning person. Well, not a night person.
Well, you actually go on the different inspections because you do like morning shifts and afternoon shifts. And
you have to deal with more people.
Yeah, and I do.
Yeah, I refuse.
Which is maybe something you wouldn't be able to do.
I refuse to deal with customers, and I send my team out to go and deal with them. I'm not a people person, so when they call me to go, and like, cause the customer wants something, I'm like, go deal with it. I'm not going out there, because I've had a few people like, especially now around Christmas. I'm putting up the Christmas tree last week.
Have you had a Christmas cake?
I had this very loud, obnoxious lady come like right next to me. I can't believe you're doing that. It's only November.
I mean, at least it's November, right?
Yeah. I was just like, sorry, ma'am, I don't really have much of a choice.
I'm sorry for offending you.
Yeah, it's just yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, so all expectations from a manager. Yeah, it kind of drowns on me, especially when you left for 3 months.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Everyone.
And I had to do all this and that and this and that, and certain people weren't doing their jobs, and I had to kind of pick it up.
Everyone's pulling
yeah, because when you're not in power like that, and you suddenly have to do more stuff, you can't really delegate other people because you're not above them.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, well, what do I do? Do I ask them, which is stressful in themselves, trying to get someone to do something when you don't really have the power to, or do you do it yourself, which is putting just more workload on you, and that's obviously stressful.
Yeah.
It's just a bad situation.
I feel like you're the kind of person that would do that workload and take that stress.
Yeah.
Because that's
pretty much. I'll just take it.
Exactly. But that's always the worst option.
Yeah.
It's not bad to ask for help.
Although, if you can have it all documented that you did all this shit, and then you go, hey, look, you want to consider it for a raise?
But unfortunately, most of the time it's not, and you never receive the praise or recognition.
You're just doing the work, so you don't have to do.
At the end of the day, they look at it like, okay, the work that's supposed to be done for the day has been done good. But if you don't do it, these things haven't been done for the day, everyone's in trouble.
I mean, at the end of the thing, manager was not happy because of other people not doing their work, and I tried my best to pick up their weight.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm the
can
first person my manager sees, so he takes it out on me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
You can do like 95% of the work that needs to be done extra, and then because the 5% is not done,
they don't see that. They just see that this hasn't been done. Why not?
Yeah.
That's
And you can't just be like, well, look, it's not been done because my work makes it terrible and they haven't done it because firstly it's not their job, so they're not actually really technically in trouble for not doing it.
That's one of the.
And then you're just kind of bitching and they don't like that.
Like, that was one of the hard and scary things I learned when I became a manager is delegating, because I'm a shy person and I don't like telling people to do stuff. But I can't do everything. I quite physically and literally cannot do everything anymore.
Yeah.
So I actually have to, especially trying to deal with one of my staff who's deaf. I'm like, I have to because I get scared sometimes. I just don't want to talk to people. I don't want to cause hassles. I'm like, I don't want to bring this up. Like a customer we had a complaint last week about some of our bread. I'm like, I don't want to deal with it. I don't want to have to bring it up with my staff or whatnot. But I take a few seconds. I breathe. I'm like, it's my job. Do your job, and then I go and do it because I have to. And and my staff accept that, and they're like, he's not being mean. He's doing his job. And we get along because they understand that. As much as I hate it, and it gives me, I have to pause because I freak out. I breathe, I count to a certain number, and I go and do what's necessary. But I don't take it out on my staff. If the job's not getting done, I'm like, why is the job not getting done? And I've listened to them like, okay, well, let's figure out how we can deal with it in the future. And I'll go after everyone else. Like, why didn't you do this? He's been doing all this. Go do this. But that's okay. It can work for me. No, I don't want my friends working for me because then it changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Especially if it's because then you have to tell your friends what to do.
Yeah.
And that feels even more awkward. Yeah.
Right. Lag.
Yeah, so kind of purposefully saved myself for last, and I'm not actually going to get into me yet. So just I'm just going to kind of bring things together for a bit. So listening to you guys and knowing a bit about stress, it seems that recognition is the first thing. You need to kind of recognize what makes you stressed and when you are stressing. And then the second thing I would probably say is removing yourself from the stressful situation. And that can be literally taking time out, or it can literally just be leaving the room for 20 minutes to go listen to music. The third kind of step being knowing what helps. Maybe the hardest thing for most people is, I think a lot of what you guys were saying is having a support network. It doesn't have to be being able to talk to people, but it can be being able to talk to people about it. It can just be going out with friends, doing something social, taking yourself out of the stressful situation and distracting yourself with people, distracting yourself with games. Could be a room full of ducks. Who knows? And
Quackers.
I feel like a lot of people struggle with the third one, and maybe even the second one, because if you can't get out of a stressful situation because you just have to deal with it, then maybe it's not going to work. Or maybe that's how you deal with it, just by pushing through, like you said. You just have to breathe, which is taking yourself out of it for a second.
When you can't take yourself out of the scenario, like somebody dumps 20 things on your lap and somebody comes and dumps another 20 things on your lap, and they all need to be done now. You can't just go, I'm going. I will just breathe and be like, what can I do now? Just work at them one at a time.
But what you have is coping strategies. You've got things that you put in place to make it seem manageable.
Which I will say I had to learn. Nothing came to me.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to learn how to manage your stress.
Yeah. Breathing is a really good one. And so it's scheduling.
I was going to say prioritizing.
Yeah, prioritizing.
Breathing's always a good life skill as well. I learned to breathe and keep doing it.
Yeah. Nice deep breaths.
Prioritizing, knowing what you definitely have to do, knowing what you might be able to leave for other people, hopefully tell them about it.
I guess delegating.
Knowing what you can do, maybe take a day off after you've done a really big thing, and then you can come back and finish things off because they didn't need to be done right then or something. So maybe you're not removing yourself from a stressful situation while it's happening. Maybe you're just taking a breather afterwards because you had to do it. But I would say that seems like three of the big things is recognizing.
That's pretty much a small
yeah,
thing, but
it's-
like whenever I get angry again, I leave it.
Yeah,
It's like, I'm just
That's
like,
what happens.
oh my gosh.
Yeah,
I
people
just
rage
leave
quit.
it.
They need to rage quit
Yeah.
sometimes.
it's recognizing when you are, so that you can like take a breather, or recognizing what makes you stressed, so you can either prepare for it or avoid it.
Yeah.
Like if someone in your family makes you stressful.
I will say, sorry, just
No,
before you go into family.
Whoa.
No,
Big.
not what I
No,
meant.
carry on.
You got to be careful about avoiding it, because whilst it can be a coping strategy,
Yeah, no,
You
only
can't-
avoid it if it's like literally something you can avoid.
you can't avoid things forever. But sometimes it is good to take yourself away from something momentarily and then go back into it with a clear mind. In general, like with anxiety, avoiding is a big part of that. But you're only going to get worse if you avoid everything. And the best thing you can actually do is take on. It's usually about fears, but the best thing you can do is take on that fear head on.
Yeah, like if you're stressing about an essay you have to write, you know, you can say, well, why don't I just remove myself from it and then I won't be stressful. But you know that you're going to be more stressful the longer you avoid it. So take a bit of time out, plan what you're gonna do, you know, do a little bit at a time. Like, prioritize. Like, hey, I need to get just a draft done in the first week, so that you're not leaving everything till the last minute and needing to stress. So recognizing stress is not just I'm recognizing that I'm stressed now. It can also be, but I recognize that if I don't do it now, I will be more stressed later.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's not just like that. And then taking yourself out of the situation, or, you know, after the fact even.
There are
And then
some
knowing what you
yeah.
do to.
There are some
Calm yourself
scenarios
down.
where, like, stress itself, it's not a problem that can obviously just be immediately fixed. In such a way, I think last week or the week before, I got a speeding ticket, and I know I get them all the time. It's really annoying, but it came at such a point as where I couldn't pay for it without it affecting my other bills.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I can't deal with this now. I literally cannot afford this right now to deal with it, and I was stressed for that whole week. But I knew it wasn't going to be a problem, and I would be able to deal with it next week. But it's just that period of the in between. I didn't have a reason to be upset, angry, or feeling anxiety, because I knew the problem was going to be solved. But it's just because it wasn't solved at the time.
But you were future focused.
Yeah, I was just like, I got really shitty because I'm like, it was my own fault. It always is, but I was just like, because it happened right after Armageddon when I spent all the money on all this stuff. I was just like, why couldn't this happen before? But yeah.
Yeah.
And in that scenario, the time frame, it's just like, because it's not like you could have done. You can't really take yourself out of that scenario because it's like, it's still there, you still have to wait for it. Yeah, like, it was only ever fixed once the time, obviously after it happened, like after I got paid and was able to pay it off.
Yeah.
But yeah. And you were saying something about family?
Yeah.
Oh, that was just going to be a really quick thing. It was just like, if you know that going to see a particular family member or a particular person, like maybe you are stressed about going to the dentist, but you have to go every once in a while or whatever.
I'm stressed from going to the dentist because I can't afford it, not because I don't. I want to go,
It's a financial
but I can't afford it.
Pretty
Because
much,
it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that changed my mindset from not brushing my teeth to basically brushing is like all the time now, because I can't
Yeah.
afford to not have my teeth
Yeah.
go bad.
That's a strategy that you've put in place to help you.
Because
Yeah.
I'm worried about, because I haven't had my wisdom teeth removed. I'm worried about them coming through and then that happening, because it's financial, it's painful, and but so far I don't.
Once you get past a certain age, they're apparently like, you're pretty much just safe and they're never going to bother you.
I
don't know if you're at that point. But
I can feel them, and because they come through the gums, and that's supposed to be what's painful.
Yeah.
But they've sort of come through halfway through the gums, and then the gums are just formed, and they're like, okay, and that's where it stopped. I'm like, oh well, okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I think I had like a couple of weeks ago. I felt this pain,
Like
and then just for a day.
I think because it was just short pain because they've stopped growing. It's like, well, okay, they're not coming through. Like the tip is coming through like the iceberg, but that's it.
I think I have, in one of my gums, it's just the tiniest tip of a tooth, and you can kind of feel it, and then Like
Yeah.
they're not actually coming
I'm
up. I
like-
don't think. Maybe they will. Who knows?
My bottom ones are gone. But yeah.
Lucky.
Well, it hurt like hell.
Well, but at least
and
they won't hurt
Yeah.
forever
And if
now.
you want to think about physical pressure, when they take your teeth out, even though you have been like put under local,
Yeah.
you can still feel the pressure.
Yes.
And they push down real hard. Anyways, sorry, family.
No, all good.
No,
the
no,
family thing
was
was
done.
actually, yeah, it wasn't very much at all.
Oh,
I was just
okay.
saying, like, you could feel
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, to some degree, you have to go see your family.
And the way you're talking about like essay things, I understand that because I get that feeling like I was saying before with editing, like
Yeah.
to the point where like I just sit down and I just start,
Yeah.
and then before I know it, I'm like I've done something.
Yeah.
It's more stressful on the big ones like the Minecraft series 'cause it's like 2 hours
Yeah.
long of just
Yeah.
sitting there going ugh.
Stuff like
Where is Lexxo?
stuff like essays when you're like stressing about something and you're just pretty much gonna have to do it and it just keeps building and stuff like that.
Oh.
Then like the coping method, if you need to get something done and it's gonna be worse, then recognize that you're stressed now, but it will get worse, and just do something, just a little bit. Like anything you can do now is anything you don't have to do later. You should perhaps set a bigger goal than that. Maybe like if it's an essay and it's due in like a month, you know, you're like, oh, I got a month. But you know, maybe you'll get down to the week and you go, well, now I've only got a week and it's 2,500 words
That sounds
about
like
a topic
something
that I
would do.
hate or something like that. Yeah, I did this recently. I am a procrastinator. Yeah, so just do a draft. It doesn't even have to be a good draft. Just something that later on you can look at and go, I have something.
So that's
to
advice
work
for
off.
anyone doing essays.
Yeah.
Those are essays, and anything that you know you're gonna have to do, and like you don't really want to do it now. Do a little bit. Just try to do a little bit.
I will say as well,
Taxes.
one thing that's really helpful I found when doing essays in general is I like to submit it a day early because
Oh my god, yes. Your due date is not the due date. Your
No.
due date is a day before the due date.
yeah,
Give
and
yourself that.
Really?
Tell yourself in your mind, if they say that the essay is due on Wednesday the 12th, you go, okay, it's due on Tuesday the 11th.
Mm-hmm.
You tell yourself that, and you will at least not get it in late.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I never knew that because I've never done an essay.
Don't
Fair
do that with exams, because you want to know when your exam actually is.
Come in the day
My
early.
exam's on Tuesday. Comes in. No, it's not.
Does anyone anything else would like to say about stress?
I was going to talk about my personal stress, but we don't have to. It's
We-
kind of not stress related.
We can cut
It's-
it there and
it's a
continue
weird
later
thing.
on. We have more. We can continue tomorrow if you want.
Oh, good. Because I was going to say that I'm bad at recognizing my own stress.
But I think
Yeah.
everyone else
Yeah.
is good at recognizing your stress.
Yeah.
To a point.
Yeah, to a point. So
Mm.
I can, like, mentally know that I should be feeling stress, right? I know that leading up to an exam is a stressful time for most people, therefore maybe I'm feeling stress. My physical body feels stress. I won't sleep before an exam. If I'm doing, like, the same is kind of with being scared. If I'm, like, up high, it wasn't heights, it was the fact that I had to lean over when we were doing the tree adventures. I had to put myself fully on the rope. And I had to keep, and I was sweating a lot, and this is like one of the indicators of stress and anxiety and stuff. So this is how I knew, is because I was having a physical response and I kept needing to pee, which is like, okay, I'm scared. And that was how I knew. And like how I know I stress is when it's too late. When I'm literally about to break down because I have an exam and I know I'm not prepared enough for it or something. And like I don't recognize my own stress. I know when I should be stressing, but like it's almost like the physical response isn't translating to the mental consciousness. It's like subconsciously maybe I know, or subconsciously my body does, but consciously I'm not aware of several of my feelings a lot of the time. And so it makes it hard, but it also makes it relatively easy because I don't stress a little. Like some things that might stress people a little, I don't even notice that I'm stressing because it's not at that point where I literally can't ignore it any longer. So I kind of don't seem to stress as much as other people.
I think because I've noticed, like, you can take things in strides that wouldn't bother, like, that would bother other people, that doesn't bother you until it hits a point.
Yeah.
And when it hits a point, it's
like sometimes like I can read an article, right, and it'll be something negative about a part of my identity. I won't go into it at the moment. But and then it'll be fine. I might even laugh at how absurd or how like stupid some people's reactions are to it. And then I'll read one line and it'll all come in and it'll all just crash and it'll just be like, oh, I feel really bad now. Yeah. So and I don't seem to get angry too much. Like
I don't think getting angry is healthy.
I don't hate people. I have people I could hate. I have very good reasons that I could hate, and I don't. Partly because it's too hard hating people, and partly because I just don't hate. It's not something I do.
I like to think I do. I think I do. There are people I hate.
I get bothered.
But I try to tell myself that there's no reason to hate them. Well, I shouldn't hate them because it's not good. I have reasons to hate them. That's why I hate them. But I try. I'm like I don't.
Yeah, and like if they're out of your life, then there's no reason to hold on to that. Like it's that thing where people say forgive and forget, and people don't forget, and maybe sometimes forgiving is healthy, and sometimes the other person does not deserve it, and it is not healthy for you to forgive them, and like you don't want to like forget people who have like wronged you in really bad ways. Like you don't want to literally just be like, yeah, okay, whatever, you cheated on me, let's be friends, or hey, you murdered my sister, whatever. Obviously these are somewhat extreme situations, so you don't forget necessarily, but you do to some degree. Don't let it bother you.
Yeah, like I don't forget. It's hard to forgive, but I don't let it get in my life if I can help it. Sometimes you can't. Sometimes
you don't invest in it emotionally.
I try not to. Sometimes I can't control. No one can control the emotions.
And obviously, if they're like literally in front of you, it's going to be a little bit harder.
I think sitting here speaking with everyone, like if I had to gauge like who was the most stressed and things, I don't think it's me. I deal with stress and I talk about my stress a lot, but I think I've come up with the best coping mechanisms out of everyone, but just because I've gone through that and I know the scenario. Like
I would argue that I was probably one of the more stressed because I'm not able to recognize it as much. I can't do the whole thing where I go, and this is what I do to get out of it, because I don't know when I'm stressing, so I'm not working on trying not to be stressful.
Our bodies were created as well. Like stress in and of itself is good, because it gets us to do things.
motivation.
Yeah, so back in the day,
stress means something important.
The way that it's been explained to me is back in the day, like for example, when it was like a caveman had a lion running at it, you would start sweating and you would kind of like drop your bowels, and you would so that you're ready to run, and like your adrenaline pump and all that sort of stuff, because your body is telling you you've got to get out of here and you've got to stay safe. But over time, our body has kind of stayed that way, but the stressor has changed.
Yeah. And
so we're not fighting lions and bears now.
It's what we place importance on. A lot of people stress when they don't have their phones. It's because your phone is so important to you.
You invest in it. And something important.
So now it's stressful if you don't.
Fight or flight.
Yeah, fight, flight,
and
fight, flee, or freeze. Actually, which is when you just
you just stop.
Go. You just stop.
Freezing's probably the worst.
Yeah.
The one to come up with.
Well, but people do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it helps. Like for a snake, if you were to come up against the snake and your response is to freeze,
fight it.
It's gonna be like, all right, there's not something to bother about. It's not coming at me. It's not running away. It's not moving. I don't need to strike. Like.
And same with T-Rexes.
Fighting, maybe not.
Fisticuffs the snake, just go ahead.
Yeah, maybe.
Uppercut.
You wanna go? What do I wanna go?
Yeah.
But yeah, So any last advice to anyone out there
Back to
listening who may be dealing with stress? Feel free to leave a comment about your stress, and
Yeah, honestly, one of the best things is having a support group, having someone you
someone
can
to
talk
ask
to.
for help.
Like I said, I originally created the group of friends as my personal support group, and then it became, I think, everyone's a personal group. I think Lag uses it.
Yeah.
Do you use it? I'm not sure.
We have deep
What?
talks.
Yeah, you know, our group of friends
We've talked
is a
about
support group.
exes.
Yeah.
Some of us are exes.
Yeah, exes, previous relationships that went badly, and things like that, and you know, everything that supports, and that's my coping. So if we all have to give one piece of advice, is it mine would be find someone to talk to.
Yeah.
No,
Find yourself-
no, that's my advice. Get your own.
Find yourself a good friend to play games with.
Yeah, there you go. There's one.
Mine would be that stress is normal and don't stress about being
Don't stress
stressed.
over stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Surround
be
yourself,
aware that you're human.
Yeah.
Surround yourself with non-negative people. You know, get rid of people who are causing stress in your life.
All
Get
right.
them out, kill them. No,
There you
I'm
go.
just kidding.
Get out, Josh.
Yeah, surround yourself with good people.
Advice
At least,
isn't
at
eminent
least
through
some
the
of the
matches.
time. You know, maybe you don't have the choice always, but as much as you can,
What about you?
stick to good people.
I have surrounded myself with people that I consider my family.
Aww.
Aww.
Like my brothers and my sisters.
I'm the mom.
And
No.
the distant
No,
and the distant cousin.
no, I only
kidding.
really consider that having brothers and sisters. That's my close family.
Yeah, because it's weird to call them your mum.
Yeah,
Like having a mum of the group is different too.
yeah.
Did you have something
Yes.
like as an
Josh,
piece of
what's your
advice?
advice to anyone out
Final
there
word,
stressing who just needs someone to talk to?
Yeah, I would
I mean-
just say, someone to talk to.
No,
It's-
no.
I thought you were just gonna say chill.
Oh my gosh, do not say that to anyone stressing. That is the
Drink-
worst thing.
Do you try not
drink-
stressing?
Like,
No,
drink
that's not a nice thing to say.
Drink some water, just like 2 minutes. Just take 2 minutes. Like if you've got a huge workload and you know you've got to get it done, 2 minutes. Just
Well, I even say
back,
I think-
wheel your chair back
Yeah.
and just go for 2 minutes. Nobody's talking to me. I'm gonna breathe. I'm gonna listen to music. I'm gonna go to my happy place.
so.
Yeah.
What's your
I'd say the best thing to do is, obviously, is like to talk to someone for help, either a therapist, which is pretty good, or your friends. And secondly, is like distract yourself, immerse yourself.
Yeah,
Like,
so
like
you're-
I do. I
yeah.
really like just losing myself.
And listen to
Into
other
games.
people as well. You know.
finding out other people have problems
Yeah.
similar to yours is great because you're not alone.
Yeah, you're not
Yeah.
alone. Maybe you've even got similar problems, and bouncing off each other is helpful.
Like-
But even just being nice and not putting all your problems on someone if they're not giving anything back, because then you're going to be the person they want to cut out,
Because I
and
think
then you won't ever support anymore.
because I think
Support each other. It's
talk
healthy.
just talking to someone is such a universal piece of advice. I'll give you one of my mechanisms that I used to go through is just count to 10. Just count to 10 before reacting, and you'll find yourself in a much better headspace than you were in that instant as whatever happened. That's what I find.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening to us drag on for this plus whatever time,
This plus
and we hope you guys
about an hour.
we helped you guys out, and if you guys have anything you want us to talk about next time, feel free to
Yeah.
drop
And
a
if,
comment.
and if you have advice, pop it in the comments. Maybe other people can bounce off each other in the comments.
Yeah. All right. Bye.
See ya.